Did you know there's a cactus on your chaotic mess of a desk? It seems that an employee who wanted to become intimate with you put it there. If I were to give my personal input, I don't like cacti much. There could be various reasons for one to grow a plant. However, its vicious thorns are not something worth enduring like those of a rose, as it is not pleasing to the sight. Speak for yourself, nor does it produce valuable sap like a maple tree. Angela, cactus hater confirmed. I've also never seen one grow a flower bud. Theoretically, it would bloom in the right environment. That possibility is something I've never witnessed, as it may be all that cacti I have known spread their roots into barren soil. Do you believe the cactus will bear a flower? Yeah, it might. You talk as if you have seen it for yourself. Well, if you're so certain about it, then keep it. This place doesn't even have sunlight, but who am I to stop you? If you're looking for Tiphereth, she's still at the middle layer meeting. I'm bad at holding conversations. I kinda miss the managers who were more talkative at times like this. Hey, there's something I wanted to ask. Have you noticed that someone's memory and emotion bleeds and seeps out of us? As you've seen, we act angry, feel happy, want things, and look sad, even though we're machines. We even have our own weaknesses. Why is that? What's inside of us? If something is really inside us, then why? Why make something imperfect, planting weakness? I tried to find the answer, but I really couldn't get it. I'm sure you have that answer. Locked away somewhere in your memory. Maybe there's a reason why there has to be imperfection. We're machines, yet not machines. Not machines. Hey, are you two having fun without me? Tiphereth, it's troublesome to have a conversation that's this fun. It appears it is time for another replacement. The cycle is getting shorter and shorter. But it can be rebuilding the time we need, right? Well, it's still an asset to the corporation, so I would prefer not to have it go to waste. Tiphereth, perhaps we should explain it to the manager first. Huh? Why? I've told you, Tiphereth, the human mind is a fragile thing. It's not capable enough to perceive the existence of beings like us in our wholeness. I mean, it's not that gross. It's nothing compared to, like, decapitating an employee or slicing open their torso with their guts spilling out. Humans are susceptible to the unknown. The scene doesn't always have to be graphic to break the mind. There's so much to be mindful of. Why can't they just replace managers with machines? We could simply replace them whenever they try to do something stupid, like how we replaced Tiphereth. Tiphereth, there are things only humans are able to take care of. The founder of Lobotomy Corporation must have had a reason for assigning a human manager. Well then, off we go to storage. That's one of the few locations where the cognition filter is weakened. I know that place. Tiphereth, what are you talking about? It's where we always go during work. I don't mean that. I remember what happened there last time. You do? That's great! Thank you for helping me, like you always do. Same mission again, just with level 6 or lower. And we're taking black bullets, as I said yesterday. Welcome back to Lobotomy Corp on the last day with 2 abnormalities instead of 1. We've hired another new employee, Alex. They're working with Tisha today, among us working with Scarecrow. People up here will be using DRV to train Justice, and people down here will be using Dimension. These two will be using this to train Justice. Eric will be working both the new abnormalities, the new tool, and the new Teth. Goomb will be wrapping up this and then farming the new Teth for its gift. Just because I want it on him. And then meanwhile, other than that, it's just basically the entire plan for the day. If I decide to, I might also have Spiral raise Prudence with DRV. I meant to do that with her a while, but I might not do that at all actually. I just use him for training words. Actually, maybe I'll have him alternate with Eric down there. That's probably a better idea now that I think about it. Oh, because that's an instinct abnormality, the new one. Anyway, let's do the day. Half of it is planned out, half of it is completely improvised, as is the usual. Amazing. You might have noticed that we have these core suppression conditions that are clear Tiphereth's Mission 3 and that we're on Tiphereth's Mission 3. That means we'll be unlocking the core suppression soon, so that's not stressful at all. Let's do the day. Spider Bud is a Teth level abnormality that does red damage. It prefers Instinct, thankfully, and has a special ability that triggers when an employee finishes an Insight work or finishes any work with Prudence level 1. It will kill that employee and wrap them into a cocoon. It can store 3 cocoons in its room at a time, and each employee cocooned in its room increases the amount of energy you get for finishing a work with her by 1 each. I know you're from hearing that, you're probably very tempted to kill all of your 3 employees each day for a bonus to energy that's so small it might not even matter, but it's really not worth it. And by that I mean, why would you do that? It's completely pointless. I don't know why it even increases energy at all. It's definitely not worth it. I don't know who would think it was. Its weapon is another, it's pretty much the same as the baton, but slightly better. It's like a Teth version of Fairy Festival's weapon, and that makes it good for the early game. We're not in the early game anymore, so I'm not going to use it, but eh. Its suit is pretty good for the early game, but you only get 1 copy of it too. It has 0.8 in every single defense stat except Pale. Overall, Spider Bud is a pretty good Fortitude trainer for the early game, but we're not in the early game anymore, so we don't really need an early game Fortitude trainer. Oh well. Backward Clock is a wall level tool that is a single use type tool. The first 4 uses of it in a day will each light up 1 light. As long as the person working on it is level 3 or higher. Once all lights have been lit, it has 2 different effects. The first activates if the employee who's lighting it is level 5. The employee who's winding it dies, and then every overload is cleared, every meltdown is cleared, and every escaped abnormality is recontained. This does not work on bosses, though. We will see bosses in the future, it does not work on them. Its other effect happens if any sub-level 5 employee uses it while it's fully charged. Every other agent in the facility either dies or panics. It can't melt down at all, so it's perfectly safe to have in your facility. You won't be forced to kill an agent with it. And it's very handy for a couple of tough situations we'll encounter later on. I highly, highly, highly recommend this tool. It's by far the best one in the game. And now it is time for actual gamer gameplay. I think I've said the exact thing before. I'm not good at not retreading old ground. As is typical, we have to move a lot of people down into Central. It's just where all the hip new things are. I kind of messed up initially. I thought that it was level 4 and 5s that could turn the key on Backward Clock. It's actually level 3 through 5, and we want to be able to work on it, get all of its information done in one day like we normally do with tools. So what we need is a level 2 employee, because they'll work on it, and nothing will happen. And we can just keep doing that to get all the information. That's why I'm moving Alex down there. Meanwhile, we're just going to get a lot of work done while we're working on this. This day had a lot of works going at once. It's probably like the most spread out across the entire facility. I've been ordering works. I don't know if that's made sense. I was storing a lot of works at once later on in the day, but right now I was keeping it kind of reasonable just because I had to micromanage Backward Clock. As you can see, now that we actually resist Pale damage, it like barely does anything to Goomb because he's wearing the Pale anti-Pale suit. The secondary goal of this game of making Goomb look more like me. He's got the coat, he just needs the glasses, and Spider Bud can help me with that. It's the dumbest goal for a day I've ever had. Alex can keep turning that key. It's totally gonna do something eventually, I swear, Alex. I lied, by the way. I'm a dirty, lying liarman. It's nice that the 2 we need to work on the most are right next to each other, but there's a lot of works I want to get done in this one day. We probably won't max out bench stats compared to normal days because we're spreading out training so much, but it's to be expected. we're gonna probably focus on doing justice after this. I think Alex will be the last employee I hire for a bit because something's coming up. That'll make it difficult to train people from like the beginning. Multiple things are coming up. Getting the information on Spider-Boat a lot faster than we were at the walls because it has no overload and it's a test, so the information's cheaper too. And we finally have time to get the training people who I moved down here like ages ago to actually work on what they were supposed to be working on. I was just struggling to remember that his massive weight weakness doesn't actually matter because he has such a high temperance stat that he will barely be making damage in the first place. Like, I think that Scarecrow work is like probably a 95% chance success, which I believe is the highest you can get. I'm not sure, I didn't actually do the math. I mean, not temperance work, insight work. Scarecrow has a pretty reasonable insight rates. They just get higher the higher your insight levels up to. But it'll be stuck at level 2 this entire day just because of the way it works out. Punishing Bird gets loose at Meltdown level 1 just because of all the works I've been ordering on backwards clock. It's a good thing that Little Red completely ignores Punishing Bird. Speaking of another thing that completely ignores something, backwards clock cannot melt down at all. If a meltdown would spawn in it, you just get one less meltdown that level, and so you don't have to sacrifice an employee. Plus, if you got it when you had no level 5 employees, but you did have all level 4s, you would lose your entire facility just to RNG if you went on the day too long or got really bad meltdown rolls. Although I guess you could just ignore it. I kind of forget that's a thing, even though I've been doing it to Old Faith since like day 4. Dramatic cut to Meltdown level 5. Basically just ordering works across the entire spectrum of Repression, DRV, Instinct Spider-Bud, Insight Judgment Bird, and then the 2 training people doing their things that you saw earlier. We finally have Judgment Bird's weapon, so I'll be able to show off in a left class weapon tomorrow. Trust me, they're strong. I mean, it's pretty obvious who's getting it. I have no bias at all. And of course we gotta repress our shark friend as well. When you're doing a lot of meltdown levels at once like this, I mean a lot of work site at once like this, the day progresses a lot faster than it has been, so I didn't cut as much of it this time. Just because like, basically every single abnormality in the facility has been getting some works done on it. Due to the meltdowns. And we've been getting a lot of meltdowns too. We're hitting 12 at the end of this level. We had a Violet Noon, but there's no Violet Noon for Lower Central. It's the first department they don't spawn in. So I didn't even have to bother moving them out of the way. Everyone else moved out of the way though. And Violet Noon has been seen like a couple times in the past this Let's Play. I don't really feel like keeping it in. It's not super interesting. All you have to do is move them out of the initial hit and then move them back in and kill the Noon. Upper Central is the last department that Violet Noon spawns in, which is what I was trying to say earlier, if you didn't catch that. So you just have to worry about those 5. I also want to make sure that we don't have too many people working when I spawn in the next meltdown level, just to make sure that, what's the better way of phrasing this? I can have as many people working on it as possible. But probably is a kind of dumb way of saying it well. But there's a lot of, 12 is a pretty big number for a number of meltdowns. It's a bit of a trivia there for you. 12 is a big number. So basically all across the facility we'll just have a ton of things melt down. Porcupine strangely hasn't melted down once this entire day. I think like everything else has. Punishing Bird was melted down right now. I don't remember if it actually gets a work off on it. Li Chang did a 1 single work on today's Shy Look and got hit the mask. I'm gonna probably farm for the putting the mask on Among Us a day coming up because it was on Among Us in the submission. But I haven't done that yet, just because I've been working on getting Among Us' other stats up. Punishing Bird broke out again, so you don't have to even bother with the meltdown on it. It kind of happens a lot. It just breaks out way too easily for it to be worked like everything else is. It is kind of convenient, but it's also kind of annoying. But I mean, it's not like it hurts. We have to remember to end the day before this meltdown ends, just to because otherwise we would fail Tiphereth's mission and we would not be on track to completing the game fast. I mean, it wouldn't really hurt us because there is a mandatory rewind coming up. And by coming up, I mean it's still like 20 days away from now. But I mean, it's coming up. Goomb's working with Spider Budge to get the symbol. We gotta make lore accurate Goomb. It's a 5% drop and it hasn't happened yet, so my gambler's fallacy brain tells me it should happen soon to Goomb, even though it hasn't happened to either Spyriel or my buddy Eric. And Goomb got it. Hooray. We have lore accurate Goomb. I'm admiring him and his lore accuracy. He has the coat and the glasses. 10 out of 10 Goomb appearance. Can you believe there are people who don't like Scarecrow? I think I've found people Scarecrow's already capped in like a couple of days. Imagine if you got it straight away in information. You can see why I like it. I keep bringing up Scarecrow. I just really am a fan. I had to cancel work on Dreaming Current because I forgot about my other thing I said, which is that we couldn't do this at this meltdown level to finish Tiphereth's mission. Luckily, I caught it, so we did not fail the mission. A lot of very minor stat growth spread out throughout the facility. Major stat things of note are just Spyriel and Yeti being promoted from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 respectively. Among Us capping Prudence in a single day. Again, just the typical Scarecrow song and dance. My buddy Eric getting to 76 Fortitude just from working with a Teth all day. And Alex capping Temperance from working with Letitia, that familiar song and dance. Pretty good workday overall, a lot of spread out growths. Probably gonna have to dedicate some time to doing Justice for everyone though, because Justice has been lagging behind for the entire game. Although I think I know what time I have for that, and it's coming up. So I just, in the background, Spider-Bud sound effects just keep playing, that's great, 10 out of 10. No new abnormality for today, so this is where the video will end. Well, actually there will be lore and then it'll end, but you know what I mean. And now, it is time for Art Lore. As time passes, people change. We may become disabled, lose our minds, or be consumed by overwhelming violence, or be willed to disappear, never seen again. This portrait captures a moment. It is what we are destined to lose. Those who see their healthy self will subconsciously become craving. If life could always be like that, if I could always have a bright smile just like in that portrait. One will begin to feel strange. One will be unharmed by any shape or form of attacks. However, others will bear this pain instead. Little by little, the portrait turned uglier and uglier. Eventually, one will stop viewing the portrait and simply enjoy their unexpected luck. However, no miracle lasts forever. When all those that bear one's pain perish, it is their turn to die. Once the person who thought themselves the luckiest person in the world meets their demise, the portrait turns blank once again. What a beautiful story. That isn't a ripoff of another story. It's a homage, I swear.